JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 24th of September 2021. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets. A few of the charts, the usual stuff basically, but yeah, before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, yep, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So you have check us out here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. Okay, so, yeah, sorry for going blank there, going silent there for a little bit, but yeah. Now then, first of all, good morning to everybody, and whoever's saying hello in the chat room. So, je, if I can pronounce it correctly, is that I hope that's the correct way. I did some digging, but yeah, hopefully that's the right way. And of course, Erica, good morning to you too as well. So, and of course, good morning to everybody else who's joining in. So yeah, first of all, of course, the first one I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225. Beautiful rebound here to the upside. Look at this beautiful gap here, and yep, it drifted higher, but still, somehow this area did provide resistance. This area roughly between the 30,202 and the 30,242 level. Again, it's roughly around here, but yeah, for now, again, that's the game plan. I mean, the moment, I mean, we saw the index rebounding, so we did have a good move. Initially in the beginning of this week, I was targeting this area. I'll have to admit, it didn't really reach the specific level. I mean, it was on the right track here. It was going good towards this 21-day EMA, towards this 29,480 zone, but failed to hit that level specifically. And as you can see, this is what yesterday's recovery in the market, in the US markets, in the European markets, did kind of act positively on Nikkei as well, so did affect Nikkei in a positive way. So yeah, the Japanese index pushed higher, and if we look at the weekly candle, we'll see that for the week it managed to close in slightly positive territory here. I would say, actually no, sorry, I do apologize, slightly in the negative territory, but it wasn't far. But again, that's still okay. If we take a look at this picture, if we on a weekly chart, we might maybe see this as a possible island reversal. Again, it's not an ideal one because we do have a bit of a kind of a crossing here, so it's kind of an island reversal. I mean, but again, don't focus on this too much. Let's go slowly on this one and look at it this way. If we push higher and we break this little short term, let me get rid of this, there we go, let me just zoom out here. If we break this little short term tentative downside resistance line taken from the high of the 14th of September, then yes, we'll go for higher levels. But if we don't, if we stay below it, then maybe we're not really done with the downside yet. So keep that in mind. Maybe we could eventually end up testing this upside support line taken from the low, the 20th of August. So let's keep that in mind for now. Again, the index is already closed. It's only left for us to wait for Monday. So yeah, let's see how that's gonna play out then. But at the moment, again, guys, I mean, we had a bit of a push higher here, a bit. I mean, I would say a huge gap to the upside. However, overall, the index still remained in negative territory for the week. So, so yeah, let's see how that's gonna play out here today. Now, in terms of quickly what I wanted to say, in terms of, like I said, this level here, I mean, this is a bit of a disappointment that initially I was targeting this 29,480 zone. However, well, that's the market for us, for you here, and for now, basically, I'm gonna stick to this little downside line. If that gets broken, then we'll slowly start climbing higher again. Shanghai Composite very quickly on that one, and yeah, so a bit of a move lower here. Still, the situation with the Evergrande is unclear, and the market is kind of on hold up here, I would say. And looking at this picture, we did recover somewhat on Wednesday. We did push higher, but at the moment, I mean, we're sitting here above this 3,629 territory. I spoke about that level before. I said that if we travel back above it and stay above it, then yes, there is a chance for this one to continue rising. But given that we kind of declined here, and we're now testing this area because the index is still open and still running for another 15 minutes or something like that. So we're still kind of stuck here near this hurdle, near this 3,629 territory. I would say if it stays today, if the daily candle, the body of the daily candle stays above this area, then yes, maybe we could see this little formation as a little bullish flag here. But again, let's not rush into anything. Either way, if you're looking for some upside, first of all, yes, keep your eyes on this hurdle here, the highest point of June. If it plays the role of good support, then we might see a nice rebound and a push higher. However, if you're a little bit more on the cautious side, what you can do is just wait for a push above the current highest point. Well, actually, it probably will be the highest point of this week already. So I doubt that in the next 15 minutes we will have a nice strong push above this barrier. But this 3,671 territory, a nice good pop above it would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and potentially this could attract more buyers into the game. For the downside, now this is where we'll have to play it very carefully. If it travels back and stays below this 3,629 territory, yes, there could be an indication that further declines could be possible. However, I would probably this time I would prefer maybe to see another drop below the 21-day EMA shown here as the yellow line, and then go for a larger correction to the downside, because let's not forget that we are still trading above this the short-term, although tentative, upside support line taken from the low, the 28th of July. Quick update on the VIX. Well, perfect move here towards this upside line and a perfect hold up near this upside line. So basically everything kind of worked out here nicely from the technical perspective. If you remember, I talked about this idea that let's see if it gets a hold up near this upside line. However, of course, this week it is currently getting a hold up near this upside line, but let's see if we can rebound from it. I mean, that could be quite interesting, and if we do rebound, then well, the VIX is considered to be a so-called the fear index. I mean, we could see maybe equities indices drifting a little bit to the downside. But again, let's not rush into anything, guys. First, let's see how, because again, we still have the data here that we have is from yesterday, so we need today's candle as well. So that probably will, well, that's gonna open up together with the market, with the indices. So, so yeah, let's see how that's gonna play out, guys. But for now, I'm really curious to see if we're gonna get a nice rebound here from this upside line. If we do, Maybe, just maybe, the indices could drift maybe back to the downside a little bit here. Now, jumping into those indices, DAX, the German index, yesterday pushed higher, found resistance near this downside line, so perfect move. And if you remember, from the beginning of this week, I was saying that if we climb back above this upside line right here, then yes, we could start aiming higher. Initially, we'll target this 15,454 territory, which we've managed to reach perfectly. Then if we climb above it and stay above it, then my next target is the 21-day EMA together with this downside line, which I would say we perfectly managed to reach. We reached one of those, the 21-day EMA, but the downside line was kind of, I would say, it fell short by a few points from reaching it. But if we're that picky, I mean, we can actually, we'll say that we didn't reach it. But overall, I mean, we reached the area, so that's kind of I would say, maybe a good result here. But now, in order to, let's say, consider further move higher, of course, yes, we need to see a break above this area, above this downside line, and then yes, higher levels could be met. We can see that yes, this week the last kind of 3 sessions here formed nice little runaway gaps here. So yes, of course, according to the TA rules, this might continue. However, if we take a look at the cash index and where we are currently sitting at, we'll see that the price is actually sitting near yesterday's close. So just right about there. It will be quite interesting to see if we can, like I said, if we can break this downside line. If we can, then yes, certainly higher levels could be met. But if we cannot, I would say keep your eyes on this hurdle. Keep your eyes on this 21-day EMA. If we fall back below it, and we stay below it, then we could go for lower levels, especially if we drop below yesterday's low near the 15,593 territory. If we drop below it, then my next target, I'm not going to drag this one way too much to the downside. Initially, I'm just going to aim for that 100-day EMA shown here as the green line, or this 15,454 territory right here, which, as you can see, acted as a fantastic area of support back on the 9th of September, the 17th of September, and, well, if we want to take the 22nd of September candle here, we had the body of this candle kind of staying above it, so kind of shows this slight significance of this barrier here. So yeah, that's kind of the game plan here for the downside. So let's see if that's going to work out. But at the moment, I will take a bit of I'll stand away from this index. I'm just going to observe it. And yeah, like I said, if we drop below that 15,593 territory, then I'll aim for the downside. But if we break the downside line, well, this is where it could become interesting for a few more buyers. Nasdaq 100, so also pushed higher, drifted towards this downside line. This is where it got a hold up. And yeah, for now, the only thing is left here for us is to wait, because, okay, the cash index is currently trading at around 15,296. That's slightly below yesterday's close. It's still below this downside line and below the 21-day EMA. So if you want to aim for the upside, certainly, obviously, we need to see a break of this downside line. But if it continues to provide resistance, well, I mean, maybe we could see maybe a little corrective move here lower. However, I would say, given the difficulty of this little pattern here right now, because we can see that we're stuck in between the two lines, a short-term downside line and this long-term upside support line taken from below the 23rd of March of last year. That kind of makes us a little bit cautious overall, because again, it's a tricky one. Maybe, for example, what could happen is that today it just doesn't trade much. I mean, it just stays somewhere below this downside line and stays somewhere around here. And then going into next week, now that's where the fun could start. Maybe we could break this downside line and push higher, or maybe we could actually reverse back down towards this upside line, and maybe then we could break the upside lines. Now, the reason why I'm using a lot of maybes here is because, of course, we don't know what the market will do. We're just always trying to predict that. I mean, trying to kind of apply logic, apply technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and just to understand how everything is going to go. At the moment, if you look at the kind of broader picture, yes, overall the overall trend is still to the upside, so maybe this little decline was seen as a corrective move here lower before another possible leg of buying. So yes, it could be easily that, because again, you can see historic moves here when, for example, back here in September, the beginning of September 2020, we saw that decline. We saw a huge decline here. It drifted lower, and then only at the end, or should I say, the beginning of October, it started picking up the pace and moving higher again. And overall, look where we ended up being. So again, I don't want to kind of spread fear here, and yes, maybe it looks quite overstretched here to the upside. However, we need to be very careful here. And again, another thing to consider here, if you do like to look at the, for example, MACD sometimes. So if you have a look here on my chart, we can see that the MACD is now very close to zero. It drifted lower. It still shows positive momentum, but it's very close to zero. So again, that's the kind of little worry here, of course, for the bulls, because whenever we kind of got very close to the zero, I mean, we did end up drifting lower. So so if we apply, for example, this logic here, for example, back in the beginning of March of this year, we did also drift lower, came closer to zero. We stalled here. It was a bit of consolidation area here, and then we drifted back down again. So so yeah, again, don't, like I said, for now, I would say be a little bit more reactive, because again, it's a bit of a difficult situation right now, especially with this whole Evergrande thing, and how it's going to shape up, and actually what kind of deep effects will it have on the other markets. So and we'll over time we'll see basically how many various non-Chinese organizations have been involved in all this, and then, if Evergrande starts collapsing, then yeah, certainly we'll see if we'll see how some European and U.S. institutions will work around that, because again, there are huge exposures from their side into Evergrande. So again, let's see how all that's going to play out. That's what I'm saying. So it's a bit of a difficult one here, and for now I'm kind of like I said, I'm waiting for the certain confirmation break, and then I'm going in. DXY, the dollar index, so drifted back down yesterday. It's a bit of a mess here, to be honest, and excuse me. It found well, actually, didn't found really resistance here. I mean, this level got the 93.45 level, the one that I talked about previously, got kind of violated a little bit. Excuse me. So probably the best option here would be just start fresh. And see what we have, what we can do here. And basically, the first thing, of course, is to bring back this upside line. This is quite an interesting one. I'll keep that on the chart for now, because so far it somehow is respected. Another important level to monitor here is the highest point of August, near the 93.73 level. We came closer to that level this week, but failed to kind of reach it. So, and instead we drifted lower. I'm gonna be very carefully monitoring this situation here around this around DXY, because if it falls somewhere below this hurdle, the 92.98 zone, which is yesterday's low, and actually I think that's the current lowest point of this week. If we fall below it, then my next target is the 21-day EMA. But if that gets broken, then certainly watch out for this little upside support line, which could play out nicely. If it helps, if it does support, then we could see a nice rebound and a push back up. If it breaks, then yes, we could see a further move lower, and maybe, just maybe, we could be forming here a bit of a head and shoulders pattern. I can see the time a little bit that I am a little bit running late here, so to go through the rest of the stuff, guys. But basically some of the instruments will be kind of the same. So yesterday on gold, we saw a huge decline here in gold, found support again near this 1741-42 territory, approximately around here. It did drift below it, but still you see the body of the daily candle remained above it. And today we're seeing a nice little rebound. However, I'm going to keep an eye on this hurdle, the 1758-59 zone. If we provide support, resistance again on this one, then yes, another slide could be possible. However, if you're a little bit on the cautious side, wait for a drop below that 1741 territory in order to go for lower levels. Silver. Silver is not giving up. Silver is actually performing much better than gold. It seems like that. But it's lacking momentum, lacking a bit of volatility here. So I would say maybe a little bit on the boring side, maybe for some. But in general, I would say it's an interesting investment product here. So, however, at the moment, looking at the broader picture here, we can see that it's kind of declining. It's still on a downtrend here. And if you want to aim for lower levels, then probably the suggestion here is to wait for a drop below the 22 level right here, just to be a little bit more on the safe side. For the upside, of course, a break of this downside line could open the door to higher levels. WTI oil pushed nicely to the upside, and we managed to break and create a new high for September. So we managed to clear that 73.11 territory. That's good news for the buyers, of course. And we're still trading above it. So let's see if we can continue rallying here. And my next target is the high of the 30th of July. That's not the highest point of July. The highest point of July is around here, guys. So let me just remove this line, and actually let me recycle one of these lines here. Just bear with me one. No, I need to, yeah, there we go. So this is the level that could be interesting, the highest point of July near the 76.95 zone. But certainly before we could get there, we do have a bunch of obstacles that we would need to overcome. First of all, the high of the 30th of July near the 74.21, and then the high of the near the highs of the 13th and the 14th of July, and that's roughly around the 75.47 level. Litecoin, excuse me. Excuse me. Oh, something got into my throat. Litecoin. Rebound. Yes, good rebound from this area right here, the 140. Let's round it up here, 145. Pushed higher, but so far the idea here that I mentioned of the complex head and shoulders pattern is working out. So even if we push a little bit higher here, but if this neckline, this upside line will provide resistance, then another slide could be possible. Either way, guys, I mean, at the moment, I'm not really that much excited about the cryptos. But if we start dropping somewhere below this 145 territory right here, then yes, of course, we'll go for lower levels. We'll then aim for the 135.59 zone, or maybe even lower. But again, that's the thing here. Let's go slowly on this one. And for the upside, I would need to see maybe not a push above a certain level, but maybe a push above all of its EMAs, because at the same time the rate would get back above this upside line, this neckline, and then maybe we could go for the upside again. But let's be very careful for now, and let's keep an eye on these areas. AUDUSD very quickly on this one. So yeah, managed to break the downside line here, so that's good news here for the buyers. This increases the chances for the pair to move higher. However, to be a little bit more on the safe side, I would rather wait for another push above this 0.7315 level, which is, or 1516 level, which is the high of yesterday, and then yes, we could aim for the upside. For the downside, obviously, I need to see a drop. Well, actually, not below this downside line, because It was such a tentative one that, to be honest, I mean, I'm gonna a bit ignore that. I would like to see a drop below the 0.7220 zone right here, just to be a little bit more on the safe side. Such a move here would confirm a forthcoming lower low. And for, like I said, for the upside, as I said, this is 0.7316 level. Now, US dollar against the Turkish lira, and boom, guys, we have created a new all-time high. Let me just double check. There we go. So look at this month, guys. The Turkish lira is not really feeling very well here, and the strength of the US dollar this week, this month, is not really helping this pair, or should I say, not really helping the bears of this pair. And yep, that's the kind of effect we're getting here. So yesterday we actually overcame and created a new all-time high, but today we're seeing a bit of a stronger move here. So now let's see where the next target, where the next resistance target will be. Probably could be somewhere maybe around that 8.90 level, but let's not rush into anything. For now, I'm just observing this one. It is quite tempting to go short in this one, but I wouldn't say it's the time right now. So first of all, let's see how that's going to play out here. Just wanted to bring this one to your attention because, again, I do like to look at these sometimes, these exotic pairs sometimes. USD JPY, quick update. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, but we've managed to exit the triangle. And this is where I was saying to you guys that in the beginning of this week, we were getting closer to this lower side of the triangle, but I said that wait for that confirmation break in the daily candle to remain either below this area or above the upper side of the triangle. And you can look at this one. I mean, it drifted lower, gave us a little false breakout here on the downside, and reversed sharply to the upside. And this is how a lot of traders get caught out. Now we got that confirmation break. You can see yesterday we broke this upper side of the triangle and we stayed above it, and this is what we're getting right now. We're getting a continuation move higher. At the moment, I'm just going to target the highest point of August, and then we'll take it from there. And that's roughly around 110.80. USD-CHF, very quickly on that one, still sitting above this upside line, which is perfect for the bulls. However, to be a little bit more on the comfortable side, a push above the 0.9275 level is required. Nothing new here. I said that yesterday, so let's see if we can climb above this level. If you cannot, and instead we drop below the current lowest point of this week near the 0.9215 level, then yes, we'll go for the downside. GBP UNZD. So let me just refresh this chart. But it's quite interesting. Basically, we're now trading below all of the EMAs, as you can see here. If we remove all the levels, you can see that the pair is a bit bearish. It's a bit bearish, and it could become a little bit more bearish if we drop below the lowest point of September near the 1.9340. The current lowest point of September, I need to say that because, again, maybe next week it could, or maybe even today, it could drift lower and then break this level. If it does, this will confirm a forthcoming lower low, and my next target, of course, the good old strong support level, could be seen somewhere around this territory right here, which is the lowest point of April, and that's around the 1.9174 level. And that's in terms of the downside. For the upside, I would rather be a little bit more conservative and wait for a push above the 1.9567 zone right here in order to aim for the upside. And finally, EURUSD. Good reversal back up here yesterday. Of course, the DXY did drift lower, and we saw this pair moving higher. However, it's still in this little range in between these two levels that I talked about previously. So this 1.1755 here on the upside, if we clear that level, then I'll go for a bit of a larger correction to the upside. If we instead drift lower and drop below this hurdle, the 1.168485, then yes, we'll aim for lower levels, but not very far, because again, we do have this lowest point of August, which could provide a bit of support. However, if that gets broken, well, I mean, this is where it could turn out to be very ugly, for the bulls. So because such a move here would confirm a forthcoming lower low and potentially could attract more sellers into the game, where they could drag the pair towards the 1.16 territory right here, marked near the lowest point of November of last year. So yeah, that's the kind of game plan, guys, for today and for beginning of next week as well. But of course, we'll have a look at the instruments next week as well. But I hope you found it useful, guys. Thank you very much for joining in and watching this one till the end. I really appreciate your views, your likes, your comments, guys. I really do. So yeah. Thank you very much. The most important for me is, of course, as long as you found it useful, I'm happy and everybody's happy. So, so yeah, have a wonderful trading day, guys. Stay safe, have your stop losses in place, and I'll see you on Monday on my Traders Espresso at 6 o'clock GMT time on Monday. Yeah, thank you very much, and bye.